Do I need a microphone for this? I'd like to save my voice since I'm hosting a death match. So, woo! Yeah. This is better? This a little? That's a little better. That's a little better. That microphone was just too enthusiastic. Can I wander around? Can I wander around as much as I want to with this microphone? Maybe. Yes? No? I don't want to start.
There's a wireless one. I'm not taking.
Neither of them are working. Oh, or not. That works too. 2 seconds. My God, man, we gotta get started.
I'm sorry.
Oh, stop.
Aren't you working?
I could just sort of yell. Well, no, I can't yell. I'd be yelling at the death match. Screw it. Oh, all right. There we go.
I'm a wizard.
Thanks, man. All right, now we're ready. Oh, perfect. I can move around. The levels are great. Awesome. And here we go. Hey, everybody. Thank you for waiting. Welcome to Writing Unique Heroes and Memorable Villains. I am your host, speaker for the next hour or so. My name is Michael Terracino. My friends all call me Mookie. I'm the writer for the sci-fi. Thank you. I'm the writer for the sci-fi superhero space webcomic called Star Power. Before that, I was the writer for Dominic Deegan, Oracle for Hire, another webcomic. I've been told over the years that I know what I'm doing regarding writing unique heroes and memorable villains. So what this is me giving for the next hour or so, giving you advice, the tips, tricks, pointers I've learned from making webcomics for, almost 15 years. This is not a golden rule how-to. This is not me saying this is the one and only way you need to do this, otherwise you're doing it wrong. That is not what I am. I'm not claiming to be a golden rule expert. So take whatever advice I have to give you as just that, just my experience, my advice. Take what you like, get rid of the rest. Hopefully for the next hour or so, we'll have some fun, and hopefully you'll find what I have to say at least entertaining. So here we go. We'll start off with some advice for writing unique heroes. First piece of advice I want to give you guys for writing unique heroes is to put the spotlight on what is traditionally the supporting cast of like the sci-fi, fantasy, or anything else that we love, because we're all here. Because to me, the unlikely hero is no longer the unlikely hero to me. Like, is anybody really surprised anymore? I mean, really genuinely surprised anymore when, like, the heir to a great kingdom or the last of a space knight order happens to be, like, the farm boy? No one is surprised by that anymore. You almost kind of expect, if you're driving through the country and pass a barn, like, that farm boy in there must be training with swords to become a great knight. It's not surprising anymore. And I don't know that many people who work on farms. I don't know that many farmers. But I do know people who work day jobs. I do know people who, well, yeah, I know people who work day jobs. So I want to see the spotlight on them. It's up to you to save the universe, farm boy. Really? My dad was Darth Vader? Yeah, whatever. It's up to you to save the universe, short order chef. What? I know how to what? And we can relate to the working class. We can relate to the blue collar, the supporting cast, because that's us. We all work shitty jobs or have worked shitty jobs in the past, and you've dreamed about doing something more. And we root for them when the spotlight is on them. And the supporting cast doesn't have to be the short order chef or the retail worker or anything like that. It can be pulled from the cast of characters that we like in sci-fi and fantasy and stuff like that. The information broker who like tells the hero like the word from the underground. Like, word is that so-and-so is going to attack so-and-so at dawn. You don't want to be there. Thank you, sleazy information broker. You're welcome. I gotta go back to being sleazy. You know, stuff like that. The seer in the fantasy story who like has the visions. What does that guy do when he's not sitting in a cave waiting for the strapping hero to come by and like give him a vague thing? Guards. Oh my God, guards. My favorite. I love guards. Now guards in the more popcorny stuff you don't have to like really think about. Guards are fantastic cannon fodder. You put a mask on them, they're kind of vaguely shaped like people. You get to do whatever the hell you want to them. You never see their faces. Ah, cannon fodder for the hero to look amazing. And that's great. But when you put the spotlight on the guards, when you put the spotlight on them and really like just let them take the mask off for a second, you create some, I think, really memorable moments. Ian J. I think who's now heavily involved in Steven Universe. had a webcomic called RPG World, which was a spoof of like various like Final Fantasy games. And he took one of the guards from like level 1. Pick a Final Fantasy game, you know the guards I'm talking about. Put one of them and like just brought him along with the heroes. Never took his mask off, never gave him a name, never even gave him like a bloody handprint on the stormtrooper helmet, so to speak. Which I thought was pretty cool. But like, this guy was just brought along in uniform with the rest of the cast, and everybody loved that guy. Soldier 347, I think his name was. Another great example is from a movie, I think the mid-'80s, called Brazil. It's an old Terry Gilliam movie. A couple of people know Brazil. So Brazil is this like future dystopia movie, and in it are the government guards. And the guards look like guards. They wear like flak jackets, they carry around a lot of ammunition and big guns, and they have these sort of like combat helmet / gas mask helmets that they wear that completely conceal their face. You can't see them. In the middle of the movie, our hero is captured by the guards. He's put in a government van and they're driving away. The hero starts to wake up, and the guards and a couple of guards are talking behind him. Now the guards do not say things like, terrorist scum, or for the government, No, the guards are talking to each other, and they're saying things like, oh my God, it is so hot in these stupid uniforms. I sweat so bad on days like this, I can't see. Like the sweat gets right in my eyes. It's terrible. Oh, well, you see, I think I've figured out a way to get around this. And in this wonderful, almost symbolic moment, the guards just take their masks off. And they're not like deformed mutants under there. They're not robots or like somehow like orcs, or like, nor do they have like magical helmet hair that defies physics. Like, oh. No, they're just a bunch of sweaty dudes. And one of them has these really bushy eyebrows. Says, oh, see, it works for me because I just grew my eyebrows out really bushy, so it channels the sweat away from the eyes. It was really great. And then they see the guy waking up, our hero waking up. And they don't go, oh, rebel scum, oh, you terrorist, oh, for the government. They go, oh, look, Mike, we got a live one. Sorry, buddy, it's just a job. Knock him out. So tell me more about your eyebrows. You know? Wonderful little, and we never see those guys the rest of the movie, but they were there to make that point. Take the masks off the cannon fodder, you get characters. And if you put the spotlight off of the usual unlikely heroes, like the farm boys, put it on the information brokers, the guys who build the weapons for the mercenary heroes, the seers, the squires, the working class, the guards, for God's sakes. Put the spotlight on them. That is step one to making a hero that is, a hero that is really unlikely. That's step one, in my opinion. Step two, or another piece of advice. This is nothing profound. This is nothing super insightful. Any writing teacher, any writing class, any writing anything will give you this piece of advice. You want to flesh out your hero, you got to flesh them out with things like quirks, hobbies, flaws, weaknesses, all the things that make us human. Now, we are here at a nerd convention. Many of us have imaginations that go well beyond the realm of Earth and humans. And please continue to flex your imaginations like that. I mean, we're all here because we love outlandish things. We love elves and aliens and dragons and all the variations in between. Dwarves, ninja pirates, elf pirates, whatever you like. Everything not human is kind of what or superhuman is kind of what brings us together here. But you have to keep those quirks human. You have to have the human hook, because that's what we all are, human. And a very brutal truth I learned, I'm going to share with you, and it's a brutal truth you kind of have to keep in your mind, is that nobody gives a shit about your character. They don't. I don't care, and they don't care how how wonderfully imaginative this character's origin story is. How deeply you've thought about the lore of the world to the point where you have like source books up to here. They don't care about the setting of this alternate universe or this magical land you've thought up. They don't give a shit. It is your job to make them give a shit about your character. And how do you do that? Quirks, weaknesses, flaws, hobbies, things they can't live with, things they can't live without. It's got to be that human hook. It has to be human. Now, do I love the story of a distant alien world full of advanced supermen, and the world is doomed, so this great scientist rockets his son off on an advanced little cradle ship, and the thing goes from like has an intergalactic journey as the planet explodes, and the rocket lands on Earth, where this young alien biology drinks in the young yellow rays of our sun and turns him into the man of tomorrow and a hero made of steel. Yeah, that's good. That's some cool stuff. That's some classic comic books. That's science fiction. Yeah, give me more of that. But his only physical weakness, is irradiated shards of his homeworld, which followed in the wake of his cradle rocket ship and landed on Earth. And now, when he sees this the remains of his homeworld here on Earth, he becomes a quivering sort of mass of weakness, and oh no, I'm so vulnerable. That is cool. That is fine. That is some science fiction. I cannot relate to that. I have never once in my life looked at a rock and vomited. Ever. We're going to go see Plymouth Rock. Oh, how wonderful, historical, and never ever happened. So you have to have the human hook, the human weakness. One of my favorite examples of this, of a human hook with an otherworldly character, is a character from an old anime called The Pet Shop of Horrors. The Count. I was his name is Count V or the Count. I forget what it is. We'll just call him the Count for this. And the Count runs the Pet Shop of Horrors, where you can buy mystical creatures from a shadowy sort of mystical place. And the Count kind of talks like this. He's very porcelain skin. Sometimes he's wearing lipstick, because whatever. Not a hair is out of place on his head. He wears very elaborate gowns, kind of floats around the pet shop. Oh, so you want to buy the mystical tiger of Shangri-La? Well, very good, but know this. There are certain restrictions, otherwise something very bad will happen to you. Blah, blah, blah. I got this. Oh, okay, fine. You're the gorgeous crypt keeper. I get it. Let's move on to the monsters teaching moral lessons about blah, blah, blah. I don't care about you that much. Or so I thought. So at some point there's a murder that kind of gets linked back to the pet shop. Oh no. So a detective has to talk to the Count. And the Count's being a little difficult. Like, I'm very sorry, detective. I'm afraid I can't speak with you today. And he'd float off into the mists of his pet shop. Now, the detective has to get the Count to talk to him. So, in more popcorny, sort of typical stuff, how would you do it? Well, you'd find a mystical scroll with an incantation that would break through this mystical character's mystic defenses and compel him to talk to the detective. Or he'd find a jeweled dagger with one of those curved blades, a bunch of runes inscribed. Like, oh no, my only weakness is a dagger made of mystic metallium, or something like that. Or an ancient scarab. Or a jeweled box with the vapors of this, or a spell book with the incantation of that. Blah, blah, blah. It's not what the detective does. The detective does a little bit of homework. Goes to the pet shop one day. Hey, Count, I was kind of hoping I'd be able to talk to you about this murder. It's kind of connected to one of the animals you sold this guy at the pet shop. I'm very sorry, detective. I'm afraid I can't speak with you today. I'm really sorry to hear that, Count, because I brought you a little present, and, I'd hate to leave without giving it to you. And he puts something on the table between him and the Count. Now, it's not a jeweled box, it's not a curved dagger, a statue of Cthulhu, or any of that stuff. It looks like a Chinese food takeout box. A little blue ribbon on the top, right? And the Count, very mystical character, turns around, takes one look at the box, and quite literally goes, "Oh, Jim! Oh!" Like he's literally flailing. And this mystical, gorgeous crypt keeper just lunges over the table like he's over ankles, just going for this thing. This is the first batch of Burdick's chocolate from the chocolate shop down the road. You have to get in line at like 5 o'clock. The first freshly made batch of chocolate. Oh my God. What can I do for you, detective? The Count had a sweet tooth. That's it. No weaknesses to mystical spells, or spell books, or weapons, or incantations, or mystic anything. It's fucking sugar. I love chocolate. Oh my God, do I love chocolate. Immediately, it's like, Count, oh my God, I get it. I so get it. I understand. We're gonna get through this together. I care about you, man. And then I gave a shit. And that was a human hook. And just, oh my God, he loves chocolate. I love chocolate. It's so easy, and it really resonates with people. Like, they kind of want to believe these mystical characters have something in common with them, with you, the reader, whatever, you know what I mean. So, what does a writer know best? Themselves. So when you're looking for these things that the characters are bad at, are embarrassed by, can't live without, these flaws, so to speak, look to what you know best, yourself. And the uncooler it is, the better it is. Because writing cool. Oh my God, it's the worst. There is no greater timestamp on what you do than trying to write cool. Hell, I grew up in the 80s. Any phrase I would say to you now that was genuinely considered cool in the 80s, you look at me like I was cross-eyed. Or like had two heads, like, that's what you think is cool, old man? Really? But uncool is timeless. Uncool is so don't be embarrassed about what you're about to share. Put that in your character. Make it a big part of them, because you will hook somebody, and someone will be like, well, geez, a barbarian who's gassy? Oh, I'm gassy. He's pretty badass. You ever fart into battle? Fuck you guys. I'm gonna fart into battle. That's maybe the new t-shirt. Okay, let's see. That's the new writing beauty heroes move. Anyway, so what's the next piece of advice I want to give you guys? What's next? Oh, okay. There's something very basic in us. Something very, I guess, maybe primal, I would say, to want to root for and get behind the biggest, meanest, kick-assiest, toughest badass in the room. And those characters are fun. Those characters are a lot of fun. And when you've had like a rough day, or a rough week, and it's Friday night, and you don't want to think so much. You're like, oh God, I've been thinking all week. I'm gonna want to check my brain at the door, get all the beer in the house, uncork it all at once, and just want to watch Conan the Barbarian just murder everyone, or Shooty McShootface, shoot everyone shoot all the guards. Just murder them all, please, I've had a rough week. Oh, you're so badass, I love it. All the beer. Yes, flex those wounds closed. I love it. Actually happened in an anime I saw once. Anyway. Now again, those characters are fun. There's nothing wrong with those characters. Like, we like them for a reason, because it's fun and it's simple, but it's also easy. There's nothing wrong with easy. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Sometimes you just need to play a game on easy mode. Just get some shit out of your system. But if you really want to go for the memorable hero, the unique hero, the intellectual victory is so much more satisfying. Way harder to do. Way harder to do. It's very easy for me to stand up here and say, like, write a smart hero. It's very easy for me to say that. It's a very difficult thing to do. But when you nail it, when you absolutely nail the intellectual victory through the intellectual hero, oh my God, it stays with you for years. Best example is I've ever seen to this day is from Isaac Asimov's The Foundation trilogy. Cornerstone of science fiction. I highly recommend it if you've never read it. You will love it. So I'm going to, for those of you who haven't read it, I'm going to paraphrase and kind of quickly go over a sprawling work of masterpiece science fiction, so bear with me. Okay, so the Foundation is this super society, right? The last hope of a galaxy fallen to shit, essentially. And things are going well, things are going nicely until it's taken over by a super psychic, calls himself the Mule. Whole other story. But he's this powerful super psychic who single-handedly takes over the Foundation by making people like him. That's his superpower. Like, you the Mule? Really? Nope! I love the Mule! The rest of you! And he takes over. Now, you have to overthrow that guy. You have to get rid of that guy to get the Foundation back on track. Well, how do you do it? Well, you've checked your brain at the door. You get a maverick hotshot pilot in an experimental prototype jet to fly against the Mule's armada. And it's doing flips and barrel rolls, nothing but barrel rolls, and things are exploding, and then the thing transforms into a robot with a ponytail and a shield, and it has boobs, sure, and it's slicing through big ships and flying through them like a jouster, and then it turns back into a spaceship, and some rebel commander's going, Maverick, the X-23 can't handle that kind of pressure. Take it down. It's like, screw you, Commander, I'm going for it. And then he shoots a proton torpedo into a hole the size of a womp rat. Big chain reaction, special effect explosion with the ring. Yeah. Or, you want to go darker and gritty, you get the never-do-well space crew of space bounty hunters with space trench coats and space cigars. Who can do the things the real heroes aren't allowed to do. And they just murder everyone on their path to the Mule, and they kick the door down and say something like, bet you didn't see this coming, you super psychic son of a bitch. By the way, I don't care about your rebellion. Where's my paycheck? Space cigar. Not the kind of writer Isaac Asimov was in either case. Dr. Asimov loved not transforming spaceships or bounty hunters. He loved psychology. Psych majors. So that's not the kind of character. So instead of sending in those guys, they send in a shrink. It wasn't even that exciting about how they got to go see him. Like, the Mule, yes, there's a psychologist here to see you. And how did he get in? He made an appointment, sir. Oh. Clever opponent. Send him in. So they sent in a psychologist. And I remember exactly where I was in this moment in time. Reading this book. I was on a bus somewhere, 15 years old. And I'm like, all right, the Mule's gonna see a shrink. All right, whatever. Very boring. Sits down to talk to him. All right, the Mule, let's talk. Very well. Talking. All right. But it turns out that the psychologist is also a super psychic. All right, give me the popcorn. Give me the popcorn and the beer. All right, here we go. We're gonna have a psychic super battle. Here we go. But they reach a stalemate. It's like, oh, all right. You can't use their super psychic powers on each other. All right. Someone's gonna shoot under the table. Yeah, the psychologist is gonna like shoot first with a gun, go, or they're gonna have like some M. Bison sort of psychic super kung fu fight. It's gonna be glowing, and they're gonna be reading each other's moves. It's gonna be amazing, yeah. I keep reading. No, gun. Where's the gun? No, where's the kicking? No one's getting kicked. What's going on here? Jesus, are they talking to each other this whole time? What the is this? So I'm reading talking, and I'm reading talking, and I'm reading talking. I'm like, where is the space kick? Where's the super? Oh, jeez, what the? Did anybody just see this? Holy crap! I didn't realize until I reached the end of this conversation that the psychologist was actually leading the Mule in a logic trap. He was telling, well, if you say this, then you must mean this. Well, clearly I do. Well, if you meant this, then this is what you must have meant. But I guess I did. But led him on this trap to just make the Mule be convinced of something, to make him go just for an instant, oh. And in that moment of, guards went down. Psychic jab. Psychology. Logic. The Mule was rendered powerless by him to himself because the psychologist used words and sentences. No super psychic kick, No X-23 prototype blaster, no never-do-well bounty hunters. It was logic and psychology. Oh my God, it was brilliant. I remember exactly where I was, like over a long time ago now. And I reread again those 10 pages. Like, oh my God, I gotta read that again. I missed the entire track. Okay, there was this first step. Oh, awesome. And there was a second one. Holy crap, this is brilliant. This is good. This whole circle. Like a nerdgasm there on the bus at like 15. Very developmental moment. But my God, it was amazing. Nerdgasm right then and there. To this day, I still remember just feeling that, oh crap, that was incredible. I reread the Foundation like last year. I knew this was coming. And I was still, lingering sort of nerdgasm, Dr. Asimov. So that's the kind of power the intellectual victory has. That's the kind of power the intellectual hero has when he or she has that kind of victory. Now again, it's very hard to do. Very, very, very hard to do. You have to know your stuff, you gotta do your research, you gotta make it somehow awesome in the terms of like explaining the science of something and then turn it into an intellectual uppercut to the bad guy. Very tricky to do, but when you nail it, oh my God, it's so amazing. A relatively more recent example of this, and again, this proves again the power of this, was when I was playing Fallout 3, and I had my science skill leveled way up, and I liked to talk my way out of these things, out of fights, and I found myself like talking to the bad guy, and like I saw a little science thing come up, like, oh, I have an option to say something sciencey to him. Oh, wait a minute, I said that, then you must mean that. Wait, then you said, am I doing the thing from the Foundation? No. Yeah, I think I am. It's happening. I want to make this guy turn on himself through words and sentences and logic and psychology. True story. It is 2 o'clock in the morning when this is happening, and my wife, who works a real job and has to get up in the morning, comes, she was asleep, mind you, she comes around the corner like, what the are you yelling about? I did the thing from the Foundation, sweetie! I used logic and sentences to beat the bad guy! I'm so smart! I'm divorcing you. That's the level of power it has. Oh, God, chase it if you can. Chase it if you're able. Please do. Oh, God. And again, going back, speaking again a little bit about the primal, sort of the biggest badass in the room, they don't ever seem to have a lot of those quirks and trait, quirks and hobbies and flaws and stuff that I was talking about earlier. They always seem to have the same sort of thing they're doing when they're not fighting. They're training. Training for the fight. The fight that I must fight for is my destiny. Because if I don't fight, the world loses. And if I lose, the world loses. So I must train. Well, how hard do you have to train? I'm training for the training part. The training has to mimic the fight. And if the fight is unsuccessful, then I am not a man. Oh my God, I have to train. Nothing but training. Training. Shut up. Do you read anything? Training manuals! What do you do in your spare time? Oh. Yeah, exactly. That's what I see when I see the guy who just nothing but training. So those are not my heroes. Much. Well, I mean, there are knights who are not that guy. Anyway, where am I going from there? Oh, speaking of never-do-well bounty hunters in the trench coats and the space cigars and all that stuff, scoundrels. Love scoundrels. Everybody loves scoundrels. They kind of blend the best parts of heroes and a little bit of villainy, but mostly hero. Like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I get to do the right thing and be a hero, and I get to be a dick to you. Sign me up. Love scoundrels. Everybody loves scoundrels. Han Solo, classic scoundrel. Shot first. Of course, he doesn't care about your rebellion. Yeah, he's that kind of guy. To a degree, I would say Dr. House was kind of a scoundrel. Helped you, but was a dick to you the entire way through your life-threatening illness, and you have to thank him. Like, well, gee, I guess thank you. Those characters are a lot of fun, but from what I've seen in my experience, those characters kind of have to be dragged, kicking and screaming into the obvious flow of the rest of the story. Like, come on, I need you to get to the part where you give a shit about my rebellion. Come on! And it always seems to be, to me at least, the one moment that gets the scoundrel to give a shit about your rebellion. My ship, full of my crew that was like a family to me, destroyed by the obviously evil empire. I have nothing left and full of vengeance. Now I care about your rebellion. My pet shop, all my beautiful pets, burned to the ground, destroyed. Oh my God, by a rival evil wizard. Oh, now I care. The chocolate shop. They burned down the chocolate shop. Oh my God, all the chocolate, melted chocolate. This is amazing. Oh my goodness gracious. The chocolate is burned. How do you burn the chocolate? Oh my God, now I care. For the love of God, you do not have to murder each and everything your hero has ever loved to get them to give a shit. Parents can live. I'm just saying. Parents are allowed to live. Now, stop that. Now, don't get me wrong. The absence of parental figures in stories is a very powerful motivator. It's a very, it can be a very character-defining trait. But I feel like in sci-fi and fantasy and all the other fantastic stuff we love, I feel like it's almost the default setting for heroes, that they have dead parents. I got a little boy myself. He says to me, "Dad, I want to grow up to be a hero." Go f*** yourself. I'm old. I'm not even 40 yet. I got things I need to do. Go be a short order chef. Go be a short order chef. And I feel like you are, if you, I'm not saying don't ever kill your hero's parents. I'm not saying that. But keeping them around can be surprising. In a genre or genres where I believe it's become like the default setting and people kind of assume it. You get to see the building blocks of what literally makes your character. Oh, they got this quirk from their dad, so they act that way. Oh, they got their love of this from their mom, either just naturally or it was taught to them. Oh, they're afraid of becoming like that, so that's why they avoid that. Oh, they're terrified of what happened when that parent did that, so that's why they do that. Ooh, okay. Just once, I want to see a knight rescue a princess from the evil wizard. She's like, "Oh, dear knight, you saved me from the evil wizard. Where are we going to go now? Back to my parents' place, sweetie. They'd love to meet you." Oh, they're alive? Oh, how wonderful. My goodness, your mother's chocolate is delicious. Yeah, no, it's great. It's really great. Hi, Dad. Hello, son. You been training? Huh? Still reading those books? Those are those building blocks. I love moments like that. So my advice, try to build those into your character if you can. See how much time we got. How far along are we? Perfect. All right, here we go. So, we're kind of crossing over, since we were just kind of talking about scoundrels and stuff there, we're kind of crossing into villain territory. But we're now kind of in that kind of in-between place between heroes and villains. Scoundrels. And now we're kind of falling into antagonists and villains. Now what's the difference? Now, in my opinion, an antagonist is only the one who is opposing your protagonist. Right? They're trying to keep the protagonist from achieving his or her goal. That is the antagonist. The antagonist is not always a villain. I feel like there's a very distinct line there. The antagonist is not always the villain. My favorite example of this, it's beautifully done, is from Avatar, The Last Airbender. Yes. Zuko and Azula. Yep. Now, if you are not familiar with this, allow me to explain. So, we've got Zuko. Zuko is first introduced as a bad guy. I'm sorry, an antagonist, right? Zuko wants to capture the Avatar and keep him from achieving what he's trying to achieve. Okay? Class, that is antagonist behavior. That is, the hero needs to achieve A, the antagonist is trying to stop that from happening. Antagonist. Okay? Now, why is Zuko trying to do what he's going to do? Well, Zuko is the exiled prince of the Fire Nation. And he was exiled because his father was ashamed of him. So his father kicked him out of the nation, right? So Zuko wants to capture the thing that his dad wants to capture, the Avatar. So Zuko wants to stop the Avatar because he wants to go home. He wants his father to love him again. And he's convinced himself this is how it's going to work. He will, he will clear up whatever shame he brought to himself and to the Fire Nation or whatever. He will stop the Avatar because clearly the Avatar's bad. My dad is the ruler of this nation. My dad's a cool guy. I want my dad to like me again. I want to come home. I want my family to love me. Everybody, please. I found the Avatar. Anybody? Love me, please. Zuko has very noble intent. He wants to go home. He wants to be loved again. He wants to clear up a mistake he feels he's made. That is, it's an antagonist behavior, but it's not villainous motivations. And you got his sister Azula. Oh my God, she's such a good villain. She's such a good villain. She is so bad. Not bad that she's a bad character. She's bad because she's bad. She's rotten. She wants to capture the Avatar because she wants power. She's beloved by her father and gets everything she wants, but she wants more. And capturing the Avatar will also further humiliate her little brother. No, you little bastard. I'm better than you, and I'm going to prove it. You're going to cry. I'm going to bathe in your tears. She manipulates her friends to doing what she wants. So she takes advantage of her friends. She is after the Avatar not for some greater goal, but for her own power. She's selfish, she's manipulative, she's angry, like all the time, and when she's happy about very bad things that make her happy, but the rest of us go, good God, you're smiling about that? You're terrible. And she's like, wah ha 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 ha. And it's wonderful to watch the two of them, because it's a very clear line between, they're both trying to do the same thing, get the Avatar. Zuko is doing it because I want my family to love me again. I want to go home. Azula is like, I want it all, and screw the rest of you. Something like that. She is just greedy. And that is very, to me, that's some classic villainous motivation right there. And at one point, she gets what she wants, and then she wants even more, or it's not enough, and it drives her. It's beautiful to watch. It's absolutely beautiful to watch her build herself up and then fall again. Oh, I love when a villain tumbles down. It's like my favorite part. But that's a good, clear line. You got the antagonist and you got a villain. Now we're in the realm of villains, right? We're talking about motivations. And to me, depending on the kind of story you want to write, there are the two types of villains. There are the ones who are doing villainous things for what they think are noble goals. And then there are the mustache twirling, because I'm evil, He-Man. Yeah. And they are both, and in my opinion, they both have equal value in the stories that they are set in. Now, if you want to write this kind of villain, the one who thinks they're the hero but are doing terrible things, my advice is to give that villain a noble goal. I say an almost heroic goal. Something that, when seen by itself, seems like something a hero would do. Now, Batman the Animated Series, one of my favorite villains back then was Ra's al Ghul. And at the big showdown on one episode, like, what are you up to, Ra's al Ghul? Well, I will tell you, detective. The world as we know it, well, we as humans, we've been terrible stewards of nature. We've soiled the earth. We've polluted the oceans. The air is choked with chemicals. We are irresponsible guardians. Batman, with my plan, I will see nature reassert itself. Batman, will save the environment. Very noble goal. Save the environment. Very relevant, especially today. How are you going to go about doing that, Ra's al Ghul? Well, Batman, my death ray is going to kill everyone on Earth. And with nobody around to screw nature up, nature will reassert itself, it'll be returned to balance, the oceans will be clean, the sky will clear up, and with no one around, but me and my ninjas to make sure everything's going well, everything will be free of humanity and we'll be fine. Like, oh, Ra's al Ghul, you bastard. You have tons of money. There's a more noble goal, there's a more noble way to go about that. Slideshow. An inconvenient truth with Ra's al Ghul. Save the Earth, now. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Guys, he's got ninjas, save the Earth! Ozymandias from Watchmen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Very villainous behavior, very noble goal. How do we start with Watchmen? Jeez.
You'll be issues that it works.
Okay, so the world of Watchmen is kind of on the brink of World War III, and everybody's like superpowered. So if like one nation kind of goes like, it'll trigger super nuclear war, everybody will die, right? The world is ready for World War III, and it's super, super bad news. Ozymandias decides, well, he's going to stop World War III. Now, that is not a noble goal. That is not a heroic goal when said out loud. I want to stop World War III. I can't imagine a more noble goal, a more heroic endeavor. How are you going to go about doing that, Azima? Oh my God, what the? And that is essentially Watchmen. And it culminates in the graphic novel, anyway, in a moment that's a very comic booky moment that I'm going to ask you to bear with me with. So Ozymandias has made it seem like an alien, a giant alien from another dimension has crashed through dimensional barriers and landed on Madison Square Garden in the middle of New York City, and its psychic death throes are just burst out from its dying psyche and kill 2 million people in Manhattan. Now, Alan Moore gets a lot of credit for Watchmen, and he deserves it. It's a very good series. But Dave Gibbons, the artist, I feel does not get enough credit because, man, the aftermath of that explosion is heart-wrenching. It's almost disturbing because in the movie, the waves that are burst out, they vaporize people, and buildings blow up. So you see the wreckage of New York City. In the graphic novel, it's a psychic wave. No buildings get busted. No people get vaporized. They drop dead in their tracks. And Dave Gibbons draws not 2 million dead to the number, but man, does it look like it. It really looks like it. And characters we've been with since page 1 of Watchmen, which is a thick book, are caught in that explosion. And it's not implied that it's them. They are dead staring right at you. Like, it's like, no, they got us. Did you like us? I'm really sorry. And when you see the aftermath of this, you're like, brain, door, beer, guys, kill him! Kill him! I need to see his face ripped off! All the beer! But Ozymandias sees the aftermath of it on like one of those big screen, like wall of televisions. By the way, I need a wall of televisions on my Amazon wishes. And it's like news reports from around the world. 2 million dead in New York. Threat from beyond the stars. Slaughters 2 million. Hostilities stopping in the war to deal with new outside threat. Treaties being drafted to not fight each other and fight that thing in case there are more. We're stopping fighting each other to look up. We're stopping to fight each other to deal with something else. And Ozymandias raises his arms up and genuinely starts to cry and says, I did it. I saved us. That's not even the end of the book.
Wow.
Because we are reminded that 2 million innocent dead, 2 million innocent people are dead. And you remember seeing that it's just characters you were with from page 1, face down in the gutter. A couple was holding hands. They're face down. A mother is over a crib and you see a little hand come out of the crib with like a rattle. It's brutal. It is absolutely brutal. And it kind of drives home that whole greater good nonsense. Look at it. Look at it. It's brutal. And like, was there another way to stop World War III? I don't know. Was that the answer? I hope not. Amazing story. Ozymandias, fantastic villain. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, because I'm evil, He-Man. Now, a lot of people say, like, don't write an evil villain because they're evil. And I normally agree with that. But these villains have their place. The He-Man villain, like Skeletor, Cobra Commander, I mean, fill in the blank. The ones who are evil because they're evil. Dr. Claw. They belong in a story where it is good versus evil. Those stories are simpler, but they're not stupid. Simple and stupid are two very different things. Classic Star Wars is the good guy rebellion versus the evil empire. You don't see Imperial officers doubting what they're doing, like, oh, is this really the way to restore order? You don't see rebels going like, we need to murder all those Imperial children in the orphanage to prove a point. No. Bad guys, good guys. And it works because you have that. You have one character who's kind of in the gray area. Not Han Solo, he's a scoundrel. He's still on that side. Darth Vader, he's the only one who goes over. But he's the only one. That's what makes him stand out. The good guys are the good guys. The bad guys are the bad guys. And the capital B, the villain of classic Star Wars is Emperor Palpatine. Great example of a villain who's evil because I'm evil. Like Azula, Emperor Palpatine did what he did because he's greedy. And he's mean. And he loves awful words like hatred and anger and like rage. And every time he says it, he looks like he needs to change his robes. Like, oh yes, young Skywalker, release your anger. Oh yes, give in to your hatred. A morally gray villain does not work in a story where it's the good guys versus the bad guys. When you have the bad guys in that kind of story, whether it's like a classic story like science, like Star Wars, or if you're writing something for a younger audience. Don't forget, we were all younger at some point. We need to get into this somehow. Sometimes you need just the villain, who represents the bad stuff, who needs to be overcome to show what is good. And those villains, like Cobra Commander, Skeletor, Emperor Palpatine, Dr. Claw, name them. They work in those stories and they have great value because those villains make the gray area villains that much more special. You need that. You need because I'm evil to show the moral gray. Speaking of the moral gray, another good motivator for villainy can be religion. Now, I'm not saying your religion. I'm not making this that kind of panel. So I'm getting that right out of the way. But if you look at, I don't know, history and the news, it can lead very good people to do very bad things. That's the morally gray area part. It also works in the good versus evil. Hell, cultists. We love bad guy cults. You get to do what you want to bad guy cultists, like demons and robots and sometimes guards. Like, yeah, cultists. Cultists are clearly evil. We can do whatever we want. You, cultists, what are you worshiping the god of? Me? I'm worshiping the god of slaughtering babies. Oh, that's a bad god. We gotta get rid of that guy. The god of slaughtering babies, you guys. Clear. All right, you. In the name of what god are you killing me for? Me? I'm going to kill you in the name of the god of barbecuing kittens. Guys, do you see that? Oh my god, the demon god of barbecuing kittens? Who wants to kill us? We got the cult. You, what are you going to murder me in the name of? I'm going to murder you in the name of the God of Peace. Wait, how does that work? It's the same one you worship. Oh, wait. Hang on a second. Same one. How does that... Deal with that very carefully, by the way. Again, it's a little easier to deal with on the good guys versus the bad guys side of the story, because you can have fun with cultists of the gods of slaughter and murder and all that, and poisoning babies and all that terrible stuff. But on the other side, if you want to get into like religion as a motivator, tread very carefully. It's powerful. And again, if you want examples, go to history and the news. That's all I'm going to talk about in that regard.
Or Game of Thrones.
That too. How much time we got? All right. We got about 12 minutes left. What's left to talk about? I know what I want to talk about. Romance! As cynical sons of bitches are you? Romance! Oh my god! No, talk more about the god of barbecuing kittens, please. Jesus Christ! Alright, well, since we're Or in unpopular territory, screw it, I love a good romance. You guys, I love a good romance. The gooier, the more saccharine sweet, the more cavity causing, the better. I love it. It's my chocolate. I love it. Now, if you want to write romance, please by all means go right ahead. I love it. But don't fall into the trap of what I call the hero's girlfriend. Now, I say that because I see this happening to a lot more female characters than I do to male characters. If you want to write a romance, go right ahead. But make sure your romantic interest is not there to be the hero's girlfriend. They're not introduced to be the love interest. That is not their only identity within the story, right? Because, you know, you're hanging out with two people, like, oh, you, well, what are you into? Well, I love my boyfriend so much, I didn't know who I really was until I met him, and I was kind of alone until I was in this relationship, and his love has just filled me up so much, and I've never been happier since becoming his girlfriend. And like, man, that's some inspirational love, isn't it? I love hearing about that when I'm single. And it's all you talk about is your goddamn boyfriend, and you have no other interests. I love your love so much. You're so interesting. Make sure, if you want to write a romance, make sure the romantic interest of the hero or the heroine, I just use the hero's girlfriend because I see it more happening to female characters. Make sure when the spotlight is on them, they can hold the spotlight by themselves. Their story outside of a romantic relationship is interesting. Poor Lois Lane.
Yeah.
She used to have her own series. You know what it was called? Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane. Yeah, I know, right? That's the story you want to read. And when we're normally introduced to Lois Lane, what's the first thing she's doing? She needs saving. Now, granted, it's because she's a reporter and she's not helpless. She's getting herself into trouble. But the first time you usually see Lois Lane is that she's in trouble and needs help. And Superman comes and helps her. Okay, very good. The best Superman story, one of the best Superman stories I feel like I've ever read is called Superman Birthright by Mark Waid and Lionel Yu. It's in graphic novel, very easy to find. It's in most bookstores. I highly, highly recommend it. If for no other reason than the first time we see Lois Lane is when Superman is applying for a job at the Daily Planet as Clark Kent. And he's like, oh, hi, my name's Clark Kent. I really would like to work for your newspaper, sir. Mumbling into his chest. And he sees Jimmy Olsen getting bullied by another employee, like dumping a garbage can over his head. Like, you little shit, I told you to get me a decaf. This is double caffeine. How did that even work? You're such a lousy little son of a bitch. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm just an intern. I just want to get my photography degree from Metropolis University. Help! Superman is like raging behind, like, I gotta stay in character. Son of a bitch. Oh, I gotta stop this. I hate bullies. The first time we see Lois Lane, she's bursting out of the crowd watching this and standing up to that bully. It's like, hey, you bully. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You may be paid more than the rest of us, but you're not a leader. You're just a boss, all right? Now, unless you want me, the Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, to get up and walk out of your newspaper, you treat this little guy a lot better. Because I got about 20 people who are willing to walk and not want to deal with your shit anymore. What do you say about that? And Lionel Yu, in one panel, captures that silent moment of scrappy little Lois Lane. And Superman, his first reaction is, oh my God, I'm in love. The first time we see Lois Lane, who is traditionally just Superman's girlfriend, we do not see her in need of rescuing. She is rescuing somebody else. And that is the first time we see her. And that is like the definitive thing that gets Superman going like, wow. She wants to save people too, you guys. I want to save people too, you guys. Oh my God, I hope she likes me. Or this happens. How much time do we have left? Can I do this? Yeah, I can do this. Or this happens a lot. It's the final fight, right? And yeah, some people are groaning already. It's the final fight, and our hero is getting beat up by the villain. Like, ha, I've defeated you. You are actually nothing. And the hero's taking the beating because his best technique didn't work, or his special move bounced off, all that shit. And he's like, oh! And he's got one trickle of blood coming out of the corner of his mouth, because so you know he's really hurt. Oh, no, I'm actually nothing. I failed everyone. Oh. Meanwhile, back here behind the pillar is the hero's girlfriend, right? And he's going like, no! Oh, no, don't hurt him! Takashi, no! And she like whips those big anime eyes that are glistening, and they have those head whip sparkle tears that kind of catch the light to where the light is coming from. Never mind the rest of us who are really crying, are blubbery and snotty, and we're all flushed, and our hair is matted to our faces. We look more like, stop hurting him! But no, the hero's girlfriend gets the sparkle tears. I believe in you. She believes in me. Superpower flames of love around my fist. And the bad guy goes, oh, the power of love and belief. I believe in myself thanks to her. Bad guy punched in the face. The hero's girlfriend comes out behind the pillar. Oh, Takashi does that, not a hug, but like leans up against his chest. Because it's so big and manly. He's like, again, if you want to write that, please go right ahead. But I see it a lot. I want to see her out from behind the pillar. You son of a bitch, that's my boyfriend. Come on, honey, we're going home. Oh, man. I think I need rescuing, you guys.
I'd still be surprised.
Oh man, is that it? We got time. Yeah, we're about out of time. Anyway, so we're about out of time. First of all, I want to thank you guys for sitting here and letting me just yell at you for an hour about what I think is cool. But at the end of the day, when it comes to writing, when it comes to your worlds, your characters, your ideas, what is just living inside you that you need to get out and show the world, just remember that no matter what anyone tells you, no matter what someone who's yelled at you for an hour at a convention tells you, no matter what, your worlds, your characters, your everything is just that. It is absolutely yours. Keep writing, keep creating, keep loving what you love. Thank you guys so very much. You guys have to speak. Hanging out down in the exhibit hall. In the online media guest hall, right next to Cyanide and Happiness at the Star Power booth. And at 6:45 tonight, main events, I'm hosting the deathmatch. Hope to see you there. Hope to see you there.